It's breeding season and I'm in and out of the racing loft, keeping on top of food, breaking the ice from the drinkers and keeping an eye on things. Whoa, tell you what, sunny but it's cold. I do wonder if I'm spreading myself a bit thin. Because Pigeon Pathways is voluntary and it's not a full-time job, the whole thing moves very slowly indeed.
Now then, who's hungry? So some good news on the Pigeon Pathways front. There's shows that we wanted to go to. Regular viewers of the channel will know. Me and a few others set up this community interest company to try and promote the sport. And looks like we've got 2 shows potentially booked in for 2026. One is the Great Yorkshire Show, which will be 5 days. I think there's 140,000 visitors to that show. That'd be good fun. And the next one is the Great British Farming Show, which is in May, and that's over a weekend. So those 2, I think the second one is booked. We've just got to pay that, and then the Great Yorkshire Show, we've got to wait for confirmation. I think that comes through in March or April time. Means that we'll get the stand to the shows and get in front of the general public, which will be good. That's what the whole point of that initiative. You like the sweet corn?
Our calls to the fancy for volunteers to help with running of the website and email communications have largely gone unanswered. So apologies for delays in getting back to people. But my focus on Pigeon Pathways is on the shows, getting the sport in front of new people, attracting new fanciers, that and keeping on top of my own loft.
Go on, mice. Eat the poison. With my mask on, Rufus.
With this being my 4th ever breeding season, I've decided that it will be the last time I do things this way. Next season, I won't breed off my race team. For me, it feels like too much of a rush to get the birds paired up, chicks raised and weaned, and then the team fit for racing in April. Next year, I think I'll have stock.
Some good news is how dry the floor is since I fixed the aviary.
So I worked out what the problem was with the leaking inside the loft. There was a little bit coming in through the cracks on the side, but that's to be expected with the way that the storm was. The biggest culprit was this aviary roof. I used this breathable membrane, which is actually it's not really a felt, it's not a final finish for a roof. I just chucked some on when I first built the loft and forgot about it because it did such a good job. But the moisture was getting underneath and it was rotting the timber underneath, which then started to sprout fungus, which is probably what was giving me the problems. But also it started to dip in. So when the rain hit this, it sort of back channeled straight back into the loft and was dripping onto the loft floor. So we got a nice day, a day where it wasn't wet. I ripped it off, I put some new board on top and some more membrane. This will be good for a couple of years, and I don't need it for that long. I'll be getting rid of this loft this year. And it's been bone dry since, and we've had loads of rain, and it's absolutely bone dry in there. So I'm really pleased about that.
Oh, that's that then. One bucket of guano.
With the old loft now watertight, it's much easier to keep clean. I'm using loft white to make the floor inhospitable to unfriendly microorganisms. The high alkalinity will dry out their exterior cell walls and can result in lysis. This is good.
So because it's half term, it means I'm home looking after the boys. And that gives me a rare chance to stand here and observe the birds. You know, we've got a lot of birds in this loft at the moment. Any birds that haven't laid an egg by the end of this week will be taken out and put, if they haven't paired up in time, they'll be out of the way because I've got to get them ready for the racing season. Because I don't have a separate breeding loft yet.
Now the weather feels like it's starting to improve, and by that I mean it's no longer constantly raining here in Nottinghamshire, it's more enjoyable to be around the loft. That was until we had our first casualty. I found this cock had squashed 2 of his chicks. And this guy, although he looks fine now, would, the next day, come down with a ghastly case of canker. The first and hopefully last time I see such a cheesy mess. All of the other pairs appear to be doing fine, but the 2 casualties in the nest meant I needed to rethink my strategy. So I'm interested to know if anybody else has had that problem with the parents squashing the chicks, because I know Fancier in the old, he's passed away now, but he had that issue when a cat got into his loft that the parents squashed the chicks. And I haven't had that before. Well buried into it, so I don't know if they were fighting. I presume it was because we've still got pairs in here or birds in here that haven't paired up, and they might have been fighting. So what I've done is I kind of had a deadline on it anyway, that any birds that weren't paired up had to come out of this loft. And it turned out we've got more cocks and hens anyway, but it turns out that we've got more. And in here we have, he's the culprit. He's a big bird anyway, that guy there. We've got 11 cocks that haven't paired up, or that have had to be separated. There's a couple of young ones, yearlings mostly, and it's just down to the fact that I've basically got to use my race team as my stock pigeons, as my breeders. And the first race is in the middle of April, and I want at least 2 weeks to get them ready. So if they haven't laid their eggs now, it just puts me at such a disadvantage. So I basically have my widowwood cocks in this loft, whilst I've still got hens and pairs rearing chicks, and I don't want that. I was now anticipating breeding around the mid-20s from my own loft. That meant I'd need to bolster the team with birds from elsewhere. So I went to the guy who bred Zidane 98, my best cock.
Hey up, Dave. I've obviously put an order in for some of your birds. Do you know what, Dave? I'd still think 1998 is the best bird I've got.
Is it?
Which is off yours.
Well, that must be getting on a bit now, isn't it?
He's 22 bird. It's difficult because our fed, 6 times last year we raced from Darlington. 6 times, which is 96 miles. It's sprint racing, and I'm not really interested in that. I like the 200 mile into Scotland, but there's only a handful of racers that do that.
I've just bought some in myself.
You have?
Yeah.
Where are they from? What are they?
Vanderbilt.
Right.
The,
I say right like I know what they are.
well,
I've heard the name.
They're an oldish strain now,
yeah.
Like, but
yeah.
I still think they take some beating.
I've got a dozen rings for you. What are you thinking?
Well, I'd go. You can do it, Eddie. Ermine coasters. These Ermine coasters we've got, they're supposed to come at the best at 300 mile.
Yeah.
That's when they're
doing well.
Doing well. Coasters, Willem de Burns, because I've crossed quite a few in with others now.
Yeah.
And yeah, any of them.
You got any pretty colours?
No.
You had a ton of mealies last time. What's happened? They all gone?
Yeah. I don't like colours.
You don't make them any faster, does it?
But all them, I mean, Billy Falston bred me a mealy last year, and that top fed, that did.
Yeah.
Come like a stormtrooper as well.
I should say, although it's 96 miles to me for Darlington, that's how far we fly, there are people in the Federation that fly like 125 miles, so it's a little bit further for them. It does highlight that I kind of need 2 teams, a sprint team, which I mentioned last year, which I've got some yearlings for this year, and then a middle distance bird team for those sort of like between 200 and 400 mile races. And they obviously need to be treated differently, which is kind of where I am with the new loft. I want that new loft so that it's just a little bit easier to manage the birds, what it is that I want to do with them, and how I want to, how my strategy is going to be. So I'm waiting on some more quotes. I've had some quotes for a new loft, and they're eye-wateringly expensive, as you can imagine. It's a sign of the times, I suppose. So it might end up being that I do actually end up building this loft myself, which means I need to pull my finger out, because right now I haven't got anywhere to put the young birds. I've got the hens in this loft, and I'll have the cocks in that loft, and the young birds will be up in the sky.